Now rims are very precious, you know, they're kind of like a baby, so you should treat them like one. Before I start this video, I have to do a quick shout out. So I'm gonna shout out my dude John from work. He hooked me up with these Enki RPF1 rims, and honestly I was telling him I was doing YouTube, and he told me what my next video was on. I said rims. He got me these the next day, so shout out to John. He's a cool guy, he's a technician I work with. He's also a race car driver. He races people, so you want that smoke. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how you can find your rim size simply by looking at the rim. And honestly, there's a lot of rim measurements that you can take. The ones that I want to focus on in this video are simply so that if you wanted to go out and buy rims, you could do that because you'll know exactly if they'll fit your car or not. So let's say you came across both these rims, you wanted to buy them, but you weren't sure if they're going to fit your car or not. What you want to do first is a visual inspection, because there should be a rim size stamped onto this wheel. Right? What you want to do is you look around and you try to find that rim size, and usually you'll find it at the back, and you can see there's a whole bunch of markings and all this stuff. It's information just for the rim, but this is what I want right here. That's the rim size. So you can see it says 17 by 8J, and at the bottom it says 35. That's the rim size for this. Even with this rim, I can flip it. See, I can flip it. It has all these markings on it, but the one that I'm looking for is right here. See that? That says 18 by 7J 50. That's the rim size for this. I'm gonna break these numbers down and I'll explain to you guys what they mean. So we're gonna look at the RPF1 wheel. You can see it says 17 first. Sometimes these numbers will be rearranged, but the 17 is the rim diameter. That's the diameter of this wheel. That's 17 inches. On this rim, it's an 18. So this diameter is 18 inches. It might be a little bit hard to tell, but this one is just a tiny bit bigger, and it would be because that's 18 inches and that's 17 inches. Alright, next we got an 8. So we got rim diameter by 8. So that 8 is the width. That's from one wheel flange, so this is the wheel flange, to the other. That's 8 inches. That is 8 inches wide. If I look at this one, remember this one now, that's 18 by 7. So 7, that's 7 inches wide. So look at that. This one is actually wider than that. That's 8 inches wide, that's 7 inches wide. That's what that looks like. Now we got a letter. See how we have that J? When you have a letter in the rim size, that letter represents the area of the wheel flange. You know what I was talking about before? This portion right here, that's supposed to create a J, and I'll show you this right here. Might be a little bit hard to tell, but this portion, you see how it goes like that? That's a J. That's the shape it makes. The letter represents the shape of the wheel flange area. Now on this other rim, you also have a J, and it's very common to find a J as your rim flange area shape, because the job of the rim flange, this area, you could see the residue from the tire. This is where the tire gets pushed onto after you inflate it. So it sits up against the rim flange, and that's what the job basically is to make sure that when you have the tire inflated and it sits up against here, that it makes a nice seal between the rim and the tire. And then finally, there's a 35 at the bottom, and this represents the offset of your wheel. Usually you'll find an ET. If you find ET next to this number, that's still offset. ET represents Einpresstiefe. That's German. They say it with me. Einpresstiefe. Einpresstiefe. Yeah, so that's offset of the wheel. So this is how I'm gonna show you guys what offset is. So remember what the width of this was? It was 8 inches. So we need to find the true center. So if this is 8 inches wide, the true center would be 4 inches directly in the middle. That's one thing you need to know. Another thing you need to know is where this is. Okay, this is the mounting part, right? This is what you mount onto your car. You know where your brake hub is? So you could tell this is where it gets mounted onto. Now you need to know the difference of where the true center of the wheel is and where this is. If the true center is right here, this portion is not here. That's actually like a little bit up. And I know that's true because when you look at this number and it says 35, that 35 means that it is 35 millimeters out this way. This part is not in the middle of the rim. It's 35 millimeters pushed forward, right? If it was pushed back, it would be negative 35. Because as soon as you pass that true center, whatever goes behind it is a negative number, and whatever goes past it is a positive number. On this rim, you got a 50, right? A 50. Now remember we're talking about it's a positive number. If that's the true center, it's gonna be 50 millimeters forward. That's way more than 35. So this portion is pushed even further out, more than that one. And I'll show you this. Like, look at that, and then look at that, right? Like you can tell this one is pushed out even more towards the face of the rim than that one. That one comes out a little bit more towards the inside of the car. This one goes towards the face of the rim more. See, if I had a rim that had this mounting area all the way up here, then that would have a negative offset. It would have a negative number, and that would actually give it a different look. The rim would look more dished, as they call it. You would have deep dish rims, and that's what these look like right here. Another rim measurement you're gonna have to know is the center bore, and that's this hole right here. And you're gonna need to notice, because after you take your wheel off your car, you'll see that there is a hub there, and that hub has to be smaller than this, right? The hub has to fit in here. If it's bigger, it's gonna contact this area. So you need to know this center bore size. What you could do is you could try to find it online if you know exactly what kind of rim you have. But if you can't do that, you're gonna have to measure it. So what I do is I could try measuring it, and so if I put this kind of in the middle, try to eyeball this, I can see that the center bore kind of starts at around 100. It goes all the way to 170. So 100 to 170, that's 70 millimeters. I'm gonna say that this center bore is roughly 70 millimeters, and that's why I need to know the size, because my hub on my car has to be smaller than 70 millimeters. Okay, and you need to know that, because if it's bigger, this wheel's not gonna fit on it. Honestly, it's really good to buy rims that have the center bore size that your car needs. So if you're gonna buy rims, I would highly recommend you do your research first. Maybe look online. Nowadays, you are able to just look online, search up your car, and find the center bore size. And when you buy rims that have that exact same center bore size, what you're doing is you're basically getting a perfect fit for your wheel's hub. When you have it mounted this way, you have a better load distribution. Instead of it being all on your wheel studs, now you have the wheel hub, and instead of putting all that stress on your wheel studs, it's better this way to have your rims with the proper center bore size to fit your wheel hub. And here you could tell that the center bore is a little bit bigger in diameter, and it's not really fitting perfectly on the wheel hub, as there is a little bit of space between the two. So this way you are putting stress onto the wheel studs, and now they're carrying the weight and force after your wheels are tightened and lowered to the ground. Yeah, torque your wheels, don't be a piece of shit, alright? Good. So to quickly summarize everything we've learned so far. On the RPF1, the rim diameter is 17 inches. The rim width is 8 inches. The shape of the wheel flange on this rim is shaped like a J. ET stands for I am Prestifa, I am Prestifa, I am Prestifa. ET means offset. The offset of this wheel is positive 35. Negative numbers give the wheel a dished look. The center board diameter on this wheel was approximately 70 millimeters, but it's best to figure out the spec of your car online. Now the last rim measurement that we're gonna cover is probably the most important one, and this is called your bolt pattern. Now, this right here is important, because if you fuck this up, your wheel will not fit on your car. You done goof, my friend. This is how your bolt pattern works. It's made up of two things. The first is how many wheel studs your car uses, or if you have a German car like an Audi or BMW or whatever, it's how many holes it basically has in it. And the second thing is called your pitch circle diameter. Your pitch circle diameter is very easy to understand. This is what it is. It is the diameter of a circle, but this circle runs perfectly through each of the wheel studs. So the diameter is very important to know, because depending on that diameter will allow you to figure out if you are able to even put the wheel on your car. Now here is a bolt pattern that you might find for your car. So the 5, like I said before, is the first thing we talked about, which is how many wheel studs the car has. So in this case it uses 5. So the 114.3 is the pitch circle diameter. This is shown in millimeters. 114.3 might also be shown as 4.5. 4.5 is the same thing, but it's in inches. So if you convert 4.5 inches into millimeters, you will get 114.3 millimeters. But as long as you have one, you can easily convert it to the other. That's all you need to figure out. So with that information right there, you should be able to go out and buy some rims confidently, knowing that your measurements are correct and accurate. But basically, that's what I wanted to show you guys in this video. And as always, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.